So, many of you asked me to make a tutorial for turning grayscale to color. And by many of you, I meant like 2 people asked me. But as always, your wish is sometimes my command. Emphasis on sometimes. Anyway, the first thing to prepare is of course a grayscale painting. Draw whatever you want, whoever you want. Just make sure the lighting and shadow has a nice contrast, but refrain from using pure black and pure white. It'll be difficult to apply the colors. Grayscale painting is a great way to practice rendering. It's focusing on the values or the light and shadow harmony instead of colors. But you know, sometimes we want to apply colors on grayscale, and to achieve that, we're gonna be using a lot of blending modes. Bear with me because it's a bit tricky. It's not difficult though, just a bit tricky, so pay attention. Blending modes or layer modes are different effects you can apply to the layer. Thankfully, in Ibispaint, these modes are separated by categories, so it's more organized. I won't be describing each blending mode in this video, but I have made a membership video dedicated to blending modes. Become a member if you're interested. There are other tutorials and in-depth studies as well. Only for 10,000 Indonesian rupiah, which is only about 50 cents USD. By the time of this recording, my country's exchange rate is effed in the butt. Anyway, back to the video. Since we're adding colors to grayscale, create another layer on top of the painting and clip it. This will prevent the colors from bleeding everywhere. If you want to be extra safe, you can separate each part of the drawing, but I'm not gonna do that. Listen, grayscale to color involves a shit ton of layers, which I'm not a fan of, so I refuse to add even more layers. So in my previous grayscale to color video, I used Procreate and implemented Coke's Illust method, where we separated the painting and used color balance to apply the colors. However, in Ibispaint, I will use a different method because Ibispaint's color balance is kinda ass. You can only adjust the midtones, while in Procreate, you can also adjust the shadow and light colors. So we're going to color it manually. For me, using only multiply and overlay is enough. Multiply deepens the shadows in the grayscale painting. It makes any color darker and a bit more saturated, so I normally use light and muted colors in multiply. Overlay also makes any color more saturated, but lighter. Overlay is trickier than multiply in my opinion. The color it produces depends on the base color. For example, if the base is yellow toned and you apply red, the result will be orangish. For the base color, I used overlay. I picked a muted orange-red color and darkened it for the skin. Do not expect the result to be perfect from the get-go, because there will be a lot more things to do. I suggest keeping the colors muted for the base. It's easier to control and we can add more vibrant colors later. Also, vibrant colors as the base hurt my eyes. I recommend using a solid brush for this. I tried using the airbrush, but it's too soft and leaves some gaps in between the colors. I made another overlay layer to color the hair and shirt. This way I can adjust the colors easily. Al-Haytham has gray hair, so you might think we don't need to apply any color, but it actually looks unnatural if I don't. So I added a tiny bit of green on it and adjusted the color with hue and saturation. Hue and saturation will be your best friend during the whole grayscale to color process. We'll do a lot of color adjustments, and hue and saturation is by far the easiest and quickest filter to do it with. Now create a multiply layer. We're gonna add some shadows. You can use an airbrush for this. Pick a lighter color, and I actually use a rather saturated pinkish orange instead of a muted one to add a pop of color. The base color is very muted after all. I applied it mostly on the facial features and areas furthest from the light source. Don't forget to apply it to the hair and clothes as well. Next, create another overlay layer. Now this is where we add vibrance to the painting. We need another overlay layer because the previous one is the base. We can't add vibrance right onto the grayscale because the result would be different. Remember, overlay's result depends on the base color below it. I use muted pink and beige to add a pop of color to his eyes, nose, and lips. This is like adding makeup to your portrait, so you can actually go crazy with the colors. You wanna use green lipstick or purple eyeshadow? Go right ahead. I also like to add muted pink to the fringe. It gives a slight translucent look and makes the hair more natural. Don't forget to add vibrant colors to the hair and clothes as well. Still on the same overlay layer, I added soft lights using a very light beige or orange. If you want to add lights using screen or lighten, that will also work, but I think it's more natural using overlay. And that is all on applying colors to grayscale. But no, we're not done yet. Where are you going? No, sit here and stay and listen to me. This is not the end result. We still have shit to do. Group all the layers, then duplicate or click create layer from folder if you're on Ibispaint. Adjust the colors with hue and saturation, then the values with brightness and contrast. Then fix the rendering. Add the textures and sharpness back in, because many are lost during the coloring. Overlay unfortunately erases some texture and darkness because it lightens the colors. I used to think this step is quite redundant because we already render in the grayscale, right? But my grayscale painting is never very detailed because I focus more on the values. So this is the chance where I can add more details and refine the painting. For example, the eyes. I never paint eyes in detail in black and white. It's easier to do that in color. But this extra rendering step is completely optional, of course, especially if your painting is detailed enough. However, there are times when I feel that the non-detailed painting looks better. Yeah, so I've spent 20 minutes refining it and the previous one looks better. Well, shit. When this happens, just lower the detailed layer's opacity to around 50 to 70%. So now you can get the best of both worlds. Yay! This is why it's very important to duplicate the painting before making any big changes, especially if you have a commitment issue, like me. Next, I'm going to add shades of blue as the hidden colors. I have made a dedicated video about hidden colors, you can check that out after this. But basically, it's adding various colors that are very much different from the base color, like for example, adding blue and purple on the skin. This is a method Chinese artists love to use. To add the hidden colors, first use an eyedropper tool, open the color wheel, then slide it to blue, purple, or green, whatever you fancy. Turn it lighter and less saturated. Use a low opacity brush to apply it so the hidden colors is mixed with the base. Take the resulting color, then reapply it. I mostly apply this on the shadows so they don't look too intense, especially since I tend to use dark shadows in grayscale paintings. Don't forget to do this on another layer, by the way. Just a normal one is fine. That way, it's easier to fix and you can easily change the color with hue and saturation. And as always, don't forget about the hair and clothes. I know you're annoyed I say it over and over, but don't blame me if you forgot about the hair and the clothes. By the way, you don't have to use just blue. Add some purple, pink, or green. I'm not a big fan of green though, so I usually combine blue and purple. The downside of adding hidden colors is that the painting can lose contrast, in my experience at least. Maybe I've been doing it wrong. But not to worry, because we can fix it with filters. As always, don't forget to duplicate the painting to prevent regret and ugly crying later on. First thing on the list is brightness and contrast. Do not overdo it though. The shadows would be very intense otherwise. Then I use the hue and saturation as well as color balance to adjust the colors just a tiny bit. I'm quite happy with how the colors turned out, so I don't change it that much. To add more depth, I use the tone curve. Tone curve is great because you can adjust both the color and contrast with it. However, number one, it's not free, on Ibispaint at least. And second, it's quite tricky to use. Even now, I have to be careful when using the tone curve. But here's an easy way to use the tone curve. First, go crazy, like really crazy, but within limits. Make lots of curves, but make sure the very top and bottom doesn't touch the box. Set the layer to color and lower the opacity to around 20% and erase the colors on the skin. You can keep them of course, but I just prefer to keep them off the skin. Now the next filter is my absolute favorite. My longtime viewers might be tired of me using this one, and it is the gradient maps. It adds so much depth and variation to the colors. My favorite combination is blue-red, but since this is Alhaitham, let's let's try the blue-green one. Again, don't forget to duplicate the painting for this. Then set the layer to either overlay or soft light. I prefer soft light. Lower the opacity and erase the colors from the skin. Come on, it's cool! Okay, don't tell me you're not excited by this. I like to combine 2 to 3 gradient maps for richer colors. This time I will apply my favorite blue-red combination. Then adjust the layer just like before. Now just like the tone curve, this is not free on Ibispaint, but there's an F2P substitution for it. It is called the parallel gradation. It has the same gradation combinations. It has the same combinations as the gradient maps, but it doesn't affect the value of the painting, so the result might look flat, but it works well as a substitution. Really well even. And lastly, apply the unsharp mask to sharpen the image. The name is quite ironic, but the result is amazing. I love seeing the sharpened paint strokes. It's such a nice texture. And that is all on the grayscale to color segment. Hope you guys give it a try and let me know what you think. Become a member for only 50 something cents or whatever the conversion rate right now. It's less than $1 either way because Indonesia's exchange rate sucks ass right now. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!